Hi, welcome to Interdependence Study. I am your host and accountability buddy, Kimberly Logan. Today we are on Chapter 6 of Just Sit, a meditation guidebook for those who know they should but don't. And Chapter 6 is all about mind games and who exactly is running the show. So let's dive right in. So many of us resist meditation because we hate sitting there like a sitting duck. We feel like we might be attacked. It makes us feel vulnerable, uncomfortable, and maybe stupid. Most of us suck at connecting with ourselves, at being still, and at feeling exactly what comes up. We are conditioned and trained to squash discomfort as soon as we feel the tiniest pang. I think we talked a little bit last week about whether or not you were taught to feel discomfort as a child or what to do when you feel discomfort. It's not something that many people get taught. So be gentle with yourself. You're learning. The next page is actually one of my favorites, and it is your mind on meditation. So if you're around my age, you remember this is your brain on drugs ad campaign of a frying egg, and that makes me smile because nostalgia. But in this case, your mind on meditation does not mean you will stop thinking. Get that right out of your brain right now. Nor does it mean that you ever get to a point where your head is completely empty. That'd be really cool, but it doesn't happen, at least not to any living person we know. Thoughts will come and go, and at the beginning, they will come and go often, quickly, and yes, obsessively. That's called resistance. You want to sit, but you don't. Thoughts like, what am I cooking tonight? Why does he always ruin everything? Did I pay the phone bill? Why did I do that? My boss hates me. I am late again. If you're anything like me, those thoughts are usually not happy. Though sometimes there's music going on in my thoughts. Here are some places to send your thoughts. And keep these in mind because our meditation today is going to be the thought detox meditation. And we will use one of these techniques to help escort our thoughts through our mind. So we have the thought river. When thoughts come in, visualize them floating away above your head on a thought river. Down the road. Send them on their way like uninvited guests. But do it gently. Don't slam the door on them. Just say, "Thank you, I'm not interested." The bubble graveyard. Imagine if each thought that arises is in a bubble. As the bubbles appear, pop them, and then watch them disappear. I also have been encouraged to think of thoughts as clouds. So if you're imagining yourself lying on the ground and looking up at the sky, there are clouds everywhere, and they float. Some of them float slowly, some of them float quickly by, but if you can imagine your thoughts in those clouds and allow them to simply pass by. I also like the idea of the bubbles and popping the bubbles, especially if you think specifically of a cartoon with the actual thought bubble, and you can see yourself in one of those comic book panels with the thoughts physically in a bubble above your head, and then turn the page or empty the thought bubble. so that it's just a bubble with no words or text in there. Just whatever works for you. We will be right back with some things that you might want to watch for and watch out for as you are dealing with your thoughts during meditation. The mind and what comes up. Meditation will bring your stuff up. And not just your blissful, happy, loving, joyous stuff, but after some time on the cushion, it will be far easier to accept all of it, even the difficult stuff. Accepting everything removes the charge that our feelings carry. Just sit with them. They won't bite you. Thoughts are just thoughts. Uncomfortable thoughts, weird thoughts, creepy thoughts, bad, mad, sad, evil thoughts enter everyone's mind, so let them. By allowing them to share the stage with all of your other thoughts, they lose their power. They're just thoughts. They don't own you. Watch the boredom. Boredom is just another form of resistance, so pay attention to it. What does it look like? Feel like? Where is it coming from? What are you not allowing yourself to experience? What is the fear? Watch the stew. If you are in any sort of snit or rage, sit now in the heat of the moment. It will calm you down so that you don't do something stupid or potentially regretful. It will change your state of mind and take the edge off. Stewing is another word for getting hijacked by your thoughts. Letting go is not buying into. It's stepping back and watching the thoughts and not falling for their bullshit. That is how you stop the stew. Watch out for the meditation blues. Whether you have a good experience or one that you don't love, you're setting yourself up for disappointment if you try to repeat it. The only thing you can do with a good session or a bad one is to let it go. Comparison never works, nor do expectations. Sit every time like it's the first time, and you'll never have a bad session, just a jam session. More things to watch out for. The grocery lists. If you find yourself making to-do lists and getting too much done while you're meditating, pay attention to it. The lists will lose their sense of urgency as you notice them. They'll still come up all the time, but they won't be so important. Watch out for progress reports. Progress with meditation is not so easy to measure. It's not like you can get on a scale and see how much weight you've dropped. And unless you have an fMRI machine at home, there really isn't any measuring to be done. Sometimes you'll notice the efforts. Sometimes you'll notice the effects immediately, but as for longer-term, longer-lasting benefits, they usually come out of the blue when you have a realization like, wow, I didn't react like I normally do, or when did I get so patient or compassionate or understanding? Watch out for the mean watcher. When you sit to meditate, do so with kindness and compassion so that when thoughts arise, you can gently watch them without judgment. When we add negative or aggressive energy, even to the watching of the innocent little thoughts, it layers the practice with negativity, and it shuts down our ability to sit back and see for ourselves with acceptance and love. And this one may seem odd, but watch out for the brilliance. Aha moments, creative downloads, answers to difficult mathematical equations, solutions to the world's problems, and brilliant ideas. All of these things may come up while you are simply sitting in meditation, and we should hope they do. You may wonder what you should do when it happens. Should you stop sitting and grab a pen and paper? Perhaps, if it's that good, we say write it down. But most of the time, pay attention and keep meditating. If it's really that life-changing, you won't forget it in the next 10 minutes. I've definitely had those moments where I thought, oh my God, I have to remember this, and then didn't remember it. But then also come back and remembered it a couple days later. So it doesn't leave your mind. It just sometimes gets misfiled, and you'll always find it later. Sure. We will be right back momentarily, and if you feel comfortable, try and figure out how you would like to envision your thoughts moving out of your mind as we do the detox meditation. Coming up soon. This one is going to be another non-music because I have a few steps I'm going to walk you through. And we're going to keep it to about 5 minutes, so plan accordingly. As usual, get comfortable in your seat. Gently allow your eyes to close. And we're going to start with 3 deep belly breaths. In through the nose and out through the nose. Notice each inhale and exhale as you breathe deeply and slowly. Consciously notice when a thought enters your mind. Mentally choose a place to send that mind chatter. Flowing away along the thought river, escort your thought to the door, asking them to leave, just for now. Picture your thought in a bubble, then pop. Goodbye, bubble. We're not trying to stop the thoughts from coming. We're simply noticing them and letting them go. as you notice the thoughts. No need to judge. No need to label it as good or bad. Simply acknowledge it and watch it go away. Continue to breathe deeply and slowly. Feeling your body calm. Allowing your mind to rest. Gently bring your focus back to the breath as it enters your nose and releases through your nose. Offer yourself some gratitude for showing up today, for taking the time to sit today. And when you're ready, gently allow your eyes to open and come back into your space. Thank you very much for joining me today. Next week, we will continue with Chapter 6, and we get into the stories that we tell ourselves, that our mind may offer to us as we sit for longer periods of time and become more acquainted with the muck that we mentioned earlier. Most people do not have the most positive thoughts all the time. Our brains are actually evolutionarily wired to have a negativity bias so that we remember where that tiger lived and which plant was poisonous and how we might be affected by the things that killed our ancestors. So if you find yourself sitting and meditating and surrounded by swirls of negative thoughts, don't take it personally. It is a biological challenge that we all face. And in this modern world, where tigers aren't really a daily threat, and the chances of eating a poisoned plant that you found in the woods are slim, we have to retrain our brains to focus more on the positive side at every opportunity. So next week, we're talking stories, and it gets a little potentially triggering. So come prepared to be gentle with yourself. As always, I greatly appreciate you joining me, and I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. And until then, let's be independent together.